You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game. And we will be doing lots of politics and public policy because our guest today is Salvi. He has been in the trenches doing litigation, trial work, doing politics, being the man about town for several decades or more. Right, Al?
That's right. Depends on what town you're talking about, but yeah.
Okay, so he wanted us to emphasize he is a father and a grandfather. He has 4 of his 6 kids. He loves them all, right? And
every one of them.
And 4 of them, though, happen to be lawyers like him. He ran for the Senate in 1996. He was the Illinois GOP nominee. In 98, he was the SOS GOP nominee. Prior to that, he had been elected and served 2 terms in the state Senate up in Lake County. Have I gotten anything wrong yet?
State house.
Oh, did I say state Senate? Just reverberated in my ear. I don't know where that came from.
I like the promotion.
I don't know where that came from. And all right. And and of course, to be a lawyer, you had to go to law school, and you went to law school at at Champaign, right?
That's right. University of Illinois.
Undergraduate work, was that at Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
You are a domer? Is that what we call it?
I am a domer, proudly, yes.
All right. Well, let's get with the show, because as we speak, people are wondering, what are people who follow Illinois politics, what are they wondering most, Salvi, as we speak?
Right now, Illinois politics, my view is the number one issue is taxes, which is associated also with the issue of affordability. Illinois is not a very affordable state, and the primary reason, in my judgment, is because we are the highest taxed state in the country.
So wouldn't you think, since this is an election year for governor, and it's, as we tape this, it's August 14th, 2026, right? Got the date right?
Correct. August 14th.
So we are 82 days away from the election, finding out whether JB Pritzker gets a 3rd term, or does Darren Bailey pull the upset of the century?
I think Bailey has a good shot. I think he's a great candidate. I love him personally. Obviously, the Chicago media is the bluest of the blue in the country, and they're never going to give the guy a fair shake. But Pritzker is despised. The polling, my wife was the chair of the Illinois party for a while, and the polling that I saw was absolutely monstrosity, a monstrosity for for the man. Could never be. The polling on Pritzker is horrible, as bad as I've ever seen anybody.
It's not accurate. You mean it's not accurate? Or the polling is
accurate, and he is very unpopular.
Well, in your view currently, what are his disapproval ratings? What's the fave on fave? What's the fave on fave?
Well, strongly unfavorables in the high 30s.
What's unfavorable?
If you do unfavorables and strongly unfavorables, it's way over 50%. Now,
favorables are way over 50%.
His unfavorables, if you include highly unfavorable and unfavorable, are over 50%. And if you include those most likely to vote, those numbers go up. He is very vulnerable. He knows it. Bailey's running a good campaign, but one of the far left media problems, and Chicago has the worst problem with the far left media, is their power is in covering stories with a pillow until the stories are dead. They are not covering Pritzker, how despised he is. And that's Bailey's greatest challenge, in my opinion. He's got to hammer Pritzker for his failures, terrible failures as governor. He's got to hammer and reinforce Pritzker's incredibly high negatives. And if he does that, he can win. But the money in Illinois is blocked by the naysayers. We try to raise money from people around the country. We try to raise money even from Illinois donors. And the same answer that we keep getting is, well, Illinois is a lost cause. I'm going to send it to so-and-so or to this state or whatever. That is the biggest problem. It's not a problem.
Hold on,
It's
give me
not
a
a
chance
problem.
to say, Al, are you going to let me talk at all on my show?
Not at all. No, I'm not going to let you talk. Not, I'm not. I love you. I love
Okay.
you. You
I
know
think
that.
we ought to have some back and forth a little bit. Okay.
Okay, I think that's
Okay.
fair.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering if we scroll back to 2022 and the prior election or the prior contest between JB Pritzker, Darren Bailey, seem to recall Bailey lost by what 12.5
12.5.
points,
Right.
about 500,000 votes
Right.
shortfall, right?
Right.
So if Pritzker was doing then so badly, was he doing so badly? Did the polls show him being highly unfavorable back in 2022?
They were showing him unfavorable, but nothing like now. He's had 4 nightmarish years as governor. He has done nothing but reinforce the disdain.
When just like a few
So
more
those
words.
4 years are important. Those
No,
4
no.
years.
When did those unfavorables turn? Because it seems to me I haven't seen recently the last few months, but prior to that, I think 4 or 5 months ago when I looked, it was like it was like Pritzker was in the low 50s unfavorables. Are you disputing
Yeah,
that?
I think you're reading the Tribune, the Sun Times, and Rich Miller a little too much, Jeff.
What
His
polls would you
numbers.
cite? Hold on, hold on. What
Not,
polls? Give me the names of the
I'm
polls
not
you would
gonna.
cite. Got it?
I won't. I
You
can't. But
you can't.
you watch. Now again, we need money, and I think we need third party PACs to reinforce the negatives. And I'm confident that they're coming through.
Okay, well, what if you need money? Why isn't Bailey getting the money? Because he doesn't seem to have any. That's what people
Again,
say.
you're right. I imagine he would say, and he would be right if he did say this, that the perception that he can't win, which is being repeated unfortunately by Republicans, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Illinois is a lost cause, they said. And so the great donors, the donors that, I depended on when I was nominated for the United States Senate in 1996, I call them for our candidates, all of our statewide candidates, and our candidates for local office. And the same answer, Illinois is a lost cause. I was able to raise money in 1996
What about
because.
Uihlein? No, excuse me. Uihlein in 2022, I think gave him or Dan Proft indirectly to him $40 million or so,
Yes.
right?
And that
So
was.
what turned? Because Uihlein, I think, hasn't given him anything in the primary or the general, is my understanding. What turned in Dick Uihlein's mind?
Well, the primary not only resulted in Dick Uihlein turning Illinois off, but it also resulted in Ken Griffin turning Illinois off. That primary was so bruising. The primary I'm talking about is the Republican primary for governor. Mostly, the mayor of Aurora and Darren Bailey. It was so bruising. Two huge donors fighting at it, spending tens of millions of dollars, burning the state to the ground politically. And we've been trying to make
So
that.
just for the people who don't know, those people, donors going at each other, Ken Griffin on behalf of Richard Irvine, $50 million, and then Uihlein, 40 million or more for Bailey, right? So,
Yeah, you got the numbers right.
And Griffin left the state, and Uihlein's still here or in Wisconsin, wherever he is.
Wisconsin is not here.
But well, he's up in Lake Forest a good bunch of
He
time. I
lives
can't
there.
keep track. That's what I'm saying.
He
So
lives
he's
there.
still in Illinois. He hasn't
And he's a
left.
great American, and you learn great Americans. And Ken Griffin, I don't look. They say that Illinois is lost. Why waste money in Illinois? That's what they say, and I believe that they believe that. But I also think that they have a bad taste in their mouth from the terrible primary, which, by the way, the Democrats very intelligently spent money on in order to fan the flames. That has left a bad taste in their mouth, in my opinion.
We only have about 18 more minutes, so I
Darn
just
it.
want to turn to the current So put the dispute between you and me, if you want to call it that, on what the polls show here. You want to say
Okay.
they show, you know, you want to show that Pritzker was
I could show you privately. I'm not allowed to show them publicly, but let me just say,
Well, you've had
in the
some
last
private
4 years, Pritzker's numbers in Illinois explain why
let's turn to the substance, and you get to talk then, because is Bailey hitting the major points? And Bailey and Del Mar is like running mate. Are they hitting the major failures of the Pritzker administration in the last 8 years, in your mind? Are they doing that?
Are they reaching
in
the
the
voter?
campaign? Pardon?
They're trying. They don't have enough money to do it
Okay,
effectively.
will you tell me the three most important things that show, in your mind, JB Pritzker is a disaster? What are they? And if you were running the campaign, I assume you would be emphasizing. What are those three major issues?
Number one, he's not focused on Illinois. He doesn't seem to care about Illinois, and people feel it. You know, people can sense it. In Chicago, seems like a loss of control. In Chicago, the taxes are going up and everything. The second biggest issue to me, again, is taxes. We are the highest tax state by far in the country. Some people say, well, New Jersey, no. Property taxes, we're the highest property tax state in the country. But you add up all the taxes that we have, we are the highest tax state.
Okay, so high taxes. That was the first thing people are leaving. I couldn't quite hear that. What was the first thing before high taxes?
Well, the fact that he's not focused on Illinois.
Oh, he's running for president, you mean?
And the reason he's running for president is because everybody hates him here.
Okay, so those are
kind of a circular thing, but it's true.
1, 2, let's go after taxes. What's
and number three is what I call the insane issues. He's for transitioning 12-year-olds and paying for it. He's for amnesty for illegals. He seems to care more about the illegals than the citizens.
Okay.
All of what this bucket of insane issues that have defined the Democrat Party generally, he seems to be
the main one you
just
mentioned. You said bucket, but the one you focused on was the high cost of illegal immigration. Is that right?
And they're all sort of tied in, aren't they? The taxes are going up, and partly because of this crazy come on in.
Okay, let's go to number 4. What's number 4 in your head?
Oh, well, you asked for 3.
I know. I've expanded.
But if you want to expand,
poetic license of your host. Okay.
I would also add that the Safety Act has been a catastrophe.
So
you might say, well, crime is going down, but yeah, it's going down now that we're getting control of the immigration issue.
But is it going down? Because do you believe the data? Do you think
not at all
fudging the data?
Excellent point. And I 100% believe they're fudging the data, and I can prove it. I think I did once with you at a fundraiser, but that would take some time. The FBI.
Keep going. I'm gonna do even more. I said 3, went to 4. Let's go to 5. Because I think there are a few more that you want to hit.
I think there are a lot more, but
we're running out of time, so
we're running out of time. But let me just say, he's an unlikable person. As a person, he's nasty. He's negative. He doesn't talk about what he wants for Illinois. He only attacks. He attacks his enemies. He says bad things. He's not likable. The people.
Okay, but before we get to the more subjective, I'm just going to ask you, because you didn't mention, and it would have been on my number 1 list, trying to be objective. The biggest failure in the state of Illinois didn't start with Pritzker, but he certainly hasn't done anything about it, which are the failing public schools. Kids can't read and they can't do math with proficiency. Am I right?
Absolutely. And he is a slave to the unions, the teachers' unions, who are very powerful in Illinois. And I think that they are the main problem that our education system has completely collapsed.
Right. And the numbers, Wirepoint says, it's not just Chicago. Chicago 10 to 25, really, they say it's higher at CPS. It's not. 10 to 25% of the kids at CPS for the last 20 years, off and on, depending which year you pick, read at grade level. And if you go around the state, Wirepoint's informed us, I didn't know this until they did, and informed us that it's something like only 40% of the kids around the entire state of Illinois, on average, read at grade level. And if you go to places like Decatur, maybe way less, so it's a statewide problem.
Also, that people are even leaving these terrible schools, not only because they're so bad, but because of all the woke indoctrination, which scares a lot of people. So, for example,
they can't read, they don't know how to think, they can't do math,
and they're getting indoctrinated in the crazy stuff. So,
what's the solution to that? Excuse me, what's the solution to the failing public schools?
I think step number one is to get rid of Pritzker and put in Bailey.
Well, I'm just curious. So you said vouchers, school choice in general, let people pick the school of their choice, give them the funding. And if we're spending $32,000 in Chicago, Milton Friedman would say give them 80% because you can get the efficiency there. So maybe give them 26,000 or somewhere around that, not the full. I think it's 34,000 now. And then around the state, it's 24,000. Maybe give them 17,000. And let them go to the school of their choice. Did I get that right? Is that
you got it right? Because you went to the University of Chicago. Milton Friedman was right, and it'll save the state money because if you give a voucher for 80% of what you're going to pay anyway, a certain percentage of the people will get out of these woke indoctrination failures and go to private schools, which will save the state money.
And so, improved quality. Kids read at a higher rate, do math better, and it costs people less.
And so I'm just wondering. Nobody can argue against it except for one group, the teachers union, and that's because they don't want to lose their jobs.
But here's the curiosity. You and I, we didn't rehearse this, being honest, right?
No, we did not.
In fact, I planned to discuss different topics. That is like, we and I talked about the topics, not the questions, okay? But you might notice we're not doing that, are we?
No.
We're talking about sort of one of the four topics we were thinking of, but this is news to me. Seriously, folks, if you're watching this show, you could tell I seem to be differing with Al on what the polls show, and maybe I'm uninformed. I'm not. All I'm saying is people say, "Oh, Jeff, you're right of center. You're like all the others. The left pander to the left in the media, and the right pander to the right." So if I'm right of center, and Al's right of center, I'm not pandering to Al, am I, Al?
And no, you never do, which is why
I'm pointing that out. I'm not saying I'm great, but the more important question,
but I'm always me. Watch out for you because you do get to the heart of the issue, and people are not allowed to just give you a talking point and move on.
Well, let me just go there. Just interrupt you. I want you to talk, but I want you to talk.
Never said that there was a poll that showed a head-to-head. That's good. What I told you was that Pritzker's numbers are very bad.
The fakes. I got you.
Of that, and I'll show you those polls.
I want to see them.
The problem is, I don't think legally I can talk about them.
Okay. Well, let's go to a more important point. Okay, because look, I think we're talking about important issues. As people know, Al and I differ on things, but we're not really going at each other because fundamentally, I try to be fair, but if people want to know my bias, I'm right of center. Okay. And Al's certainly right of center. So, but the more important question here, being objective, is why isn't this discussion going on? Why isn't Bailey? I think if you said to people, what's Bailey running on, they'd be confused. You just whipped out, I asked for 3 and you ended up giving me 5 good points. If you were running Bailey's campaign, you'd probably say, here are the 5 points, go run on them. But do you agree with me? He's not really running on that, is he? He and Del Mar, his team.
I disagree with you. They are running on it. It's just they can't get their word out because that takes money. And they can't get money because of everybody saying Illinois lost cause.
No, but he has press conferences. He has digital ads. You could use your digital ads to. It may not be as effective, but you agree he does have digital ads. Are his digital ads emphasizing these points?
I think to some extent, not the way I just did, but Frank, he's the nominee. He won.
Who's Al Salvi? Give me a break. You can't ask everybody to be Al Salvi. or
Well,
Kathy Salvi. Okay, really can't.
it's good, and maybe
It's a rather high bar.
Some would say a low bar. Yeah.
No, okay, but so here, let me interject one other mix because if Republicans are paying attention to this primary, and I think they are, those Republicans are hearing from Ted Dabrowski, who ran in the primary, came in second, but lost 53 to 29. Okay. And yet he's still out there talking. What's he doing?
Well, he's out there talking. He's loyal. He wrote a very strong endorsement of Darren Bailey.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
When was that?
The day after our unity breakfast.
What did you say? Everybody go out there and vote for Darren Bailey?
No, it was good. It was pretty solid. And I had lunch with Ted at Mar-a-Lago on April 25th.
Okay.
And 100% all in for Darren Bailey. There are people that are saying, well, he's sort of creating this separate movement. I don't see any evidence of
a separate movement. Well, has he been appearing? Has he appeared with Bailey since the primary? Campaigned with him, put his arm around him. You know how politicians do.
Yeah, I do.
They want to show their love. Is he showing the love?
He is. Is he doing it enough? I mean, is that our problem? Like you said, he lost 54-29. So
53-29. I'm just kidding you, Al.
Oh, is it 54-29?
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
He had a big fundraising advantage, but Bailey won.
He had a big fundraising event? Ted did for Bailey?
Advantage over Bailey.
Oh, a big fundraising. Yes. Yeah, Ted. Okay, go ahead.
I agree. Ted's a friend. He's got wire points. He's very effective communicator. I like him. I love him. I think he has been a loyal pro Bailey person, but you don't.
He's not appearing with him. As far as I know.
When you say he's not appearing with him, I mean, he's done everything, to my knowledge, that he's been asked of. Now, he had the backing of Uihlein.
Right.
It sure would be nice if, and my request of him would be to reach Uihlein, say some of the things that were said here, and if Ted could get Dick Uihlein to get behind Bailey and get behind those groups that want to help Bailey hit home on the message of Pritzker's unpopularity. Boy, would that be powerful. That's the only thing I care about.
Let me just ask you, implicitly you're saying, just want to make explicit, because Ted raised the issue of electability in the primary. I think he said that. He said, I can win. He lost. There's nothing different. He'd lose again.
The best answer to that is,
Ted say that?
I have heard him say that, but the best answer to that question during the primary, which is what I said, was the person who wins the primary answers that question as to who is the best candidate. And with respect,
well,
he didn't win, and he lost.
But Ted would say, I've heard him say, others have heard him say, Bailey had the advantage of $70 million of name recognition that came to him spending on that from Pritzker and from Griffin in 2022. So,
yeah.
So Ted was running with that disadvantage, right? Ted would say that, right?
Can I give you a quote though from Ted Dabrowski?
We got 4 minutes left, so use it wisely.
Here's a quote from Ted Dabrowski that I think completely answers all these questions. Quote,
sure.
These are his words. The Illinois GOP is clearly in disarray. Part of its problems is infighting that's sometimes extreme, a circular firing squad. I agree with him, and he is not part of the circular firing squad. And I would call upon Ted, my friend Ted Dabrowski, an excellent candidate, to get Dick Uihlein to come back on board, because with Dick Uihlein, we will beat Pritzker.
Well, let's just hypothetically assume, which may be true, may not, that he can't do that. Even if he wanted to, he doesn't control Dick Uihlein. He got some money. He didn't get as much as perhaps he would have liked, but he got some. 250. Did he get 250 more? Maybe 500 total. But let's assume he can't do that. What else would you ask your dear friend Ted Dabrowski to do to help Bailey win this election?
I'd like to see the two of them do, I would say an ad, but let's face it, TV ads aren't what they used to be. But I would like to see him campaign regularly and be seen with.
You'd like to see him go and at the event, hold his arm up. You know what they do to show the love.
Absolutely.
You were a candidate. You know stuff way better. So you tell Ted to do that, show the love, right?
Because although I don't believe it's true that he's not backing Bailey or that he's not backing Bailey strongly enough, the perception that he's not backing Bailey enough, which you're pointing out, that is true, and that must not.
I'm not. I'm just like I'm trying to be the voice of people. This is what people I hear would say.
So if
because
that's the point.
I am fair and balanced.
You are.
I'm not a Republican cheerleader or a Democratic.
I understand, but Jeff, isn't that the point when you say this is what people perceive? That's my point. Perception in these things is more important than reality.
Okay, we got to wrap. So it sounds to me, give it to me now. If you had Bailey and you really were running that campaign, you got a minute. Give me a minute. The best statement why people should vote for Darren Bailey and not JB Pritzker for governor.
Darren Bailey will reverse the U-Haul statistics, where Illinois is the #1 state of U-Haul trucks going out, and we're last in U-Haul trucks coming in. He'll change that. And it's not about U-Hauls. It's about the fact that people are getting the heck out of this state.
Migration. We're losing people. We're losing taxpayers. We're losing business. Whatever. We're losing it all to other states, right?
And that's bad in and of itself, but it's also a reflection that life is not good in Illinois and people are going to other states because
schools aren't good. The public schools, we're not giving them school choice. The taxes are high.
And who do you blame for that?
Growth is low, economic growth.
Is low.
Everything that attracts people to Florida and Texas and Tennessee is shoving them out of I almost said California, out of Illinois. Okay.
And who is responsible? What does a voter do in a representative democracy when things are so bad and the leader is a guy named Pritzker? What do?
What do they
do? We throw him out of office and we bring someone in. Darren Bailey, go to his website. He's got great solutions, reducing our taxes, fixing our schools, and making everything safer and cooperating with the federal government instead of always fighting the federal government to the detriment of the people of the state of Illinois.
I think your phone's ringing. I think Bailey wants you to be his campaign manager.
I don't think so, but I'm a fan and I'm voting for him.
All right, folks. Look, a rather different look we had this time. We don't really usually do Zooms. I don't know. Let us know. Send a note to, jbcg@aol.com. There it is. My email, I'm sure I'll get zillions, right? Let us know if you liked having this kind of setup, on Zoom. Bring in, if it works, we can bring in people, much national issues from outside the state, right?
That's right. You'll get guests that you wouldn't be able to get.
Like Al, I've had 1,200 guests, never had you on the show. But Al, it's hard to get him out of, where do you live out there?
I live in Mundelein, Illinois.
So, Al's a homebody.
I am a homebody.
I said Zoom and he was right here. Okay, we got to get out. Say goodbye to the folks.
Good job, Jeff. God bless everybody. Keep watching Jeff Berkowitz. Best podcast there is.
That's a great endorsement. So folks, hey Al, you come back. We want to see you more often. And anytime. You come back, folks, to Public Affairs.